One of the biggest question marks this offseason for the Phoenix Suns was Frank Vogel going to remain the head coach. And as we know, the rumors been piling up over the last 48 hours. We got some key information detailing that Frank Vogel most likely is going to stay put is the Phoenix Suns head coach. We're going to be breaking down, is that the smart decision for the Phoenix Suns, or are they making a key mistake? All of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, but before we dive in on all this Phoenix Suns news, 96% of our viewers are not subscribed. And as we try to get to 1,000 subscribers here on Suns Digest, we'd appreciate it if you guys hit that subscribe button here if you want to make sure you stay up to date on all the daily Phoenix Suns news, especially all this Frank Vogel stuff. We already have a bunch of trade rumors breaking with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. We'll have all of that covered for you guys here on this channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the topic at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack as it's going to be a jam-packed episode. And like I mentioned, the topic at hand today is Frank Vogel going to be staying as this Phoenix Suns head coach? Now, obviously, he was a first-year head coach with this team after Monty Williams was let go last offseason. And being a defensive-minded head coach and this team needing to be better on the defensive side of the ball compared to Monty Williams, a lot of Suns fans were projecting this team to be pretty solid. Then going out and making the acquisition of Bradley Beal made this three-headed offensive juggernaut with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant seemingly one of the favorites to come out of the Western Conference and especially out of the Pacific Division. But as we all know, the expectations did not meet reality here for the Phoenix Suns team as they lost in a sweep to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that they beat 3-0 in the season series. So obviously some changes, some concerns are definitely going to be brought about this team. And one of them is revolving around the head coach, Frank Vogel. People are calling him the scapegoat. People are blaming him for all the problems. But if we look at this detailed tweet here, we can see that the Phoenix Suns considering keeping Frank Vogel as their head coach for next season. And this is per Mark Stein of the Stein Line. He said he's heard that the option is that the Suns have considered it and that they're going to keep Frank Vogel and just completely redo the staff around him, which is kind of crazy to hear from that as well. If we want to look at this Phoenix Suns coaching staff, we can obviously see the likes of Frank Vogel, David Fizdale, obviously Quentin Crawford, a bunch of other names on this list. And it's reported that these guys are going to be the ones that are going to be let go. The assistant coaches, the coaching staff is going to, be terminated, and Frank Vogel is going to keep his job, and they're going to bring in other assistant coaches around this team's needs to help out with Frank Vogel. Now, in my honest opinion, I think that this is a 50-50 move for the Phoenix Suns. Ultimately, I do not believe that Frank Vogel should be the scapegoat. He was brought into this one team with this 1 year and had everything he basically built with this team. With the injuries with Booker, the injuries with Beal throughout the season, Kevin Durant, suffering little injuries here and there. This team was never fully healthy and didn't really play with together fully till around the middle of the season, and they still were able to get 49 wins in a stacked Western Conference with a bunch of young teams like the Thunder, like the Pelicans, like the Timberwolves. So this team with its core veterans can still win with Devin Booker, with Kevin Durant, even with Bradley Beal. They just need the right pieces around them. And ultimately, I think that is at the fault of the general manager, James Jones, because ultimately going out for Devin Booker and making that deal was a not smart decision in my eyes. I think that going after a rebounding big, some defensive wings, possibly even a point guard to set up the offense would have been a lot better decision making for this team. But obviously that's in the past and they're going to have to work on their changes. But if we want to dive in and, kind of look at this article here, the Phoenix Suns obviously had a disappointing season in 2023-2024 with their loaded big three of KD, D-Book, and Bradley Beal, culminating in the team being swept in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves. This has led to speculation that head coach Frank Vogel is or should be on the hot seat. But NBA reporter Mark Stein reported on This League Uncut podcast with the TNT Sports Chris Haynes that the Suns may not give up on him as yet. I have heard that there's one option that the Suns have considered and just completely redo the staff around him. So want to look more at that article as well. Obviously, we saw the concerns from Adrian Wojnarowski in Game 3 coming out and saying on ESPN that Frank Vogel's future with the Phoenix Suns could be in jeopardy obviously getting the sweep. And then we obviously heard our guy Frank Vogel before Game 4 come out and say, no, that's not an issue. Me and Matt Ishbia talked, and we know that I'm going to stay here long term and that the owners like me, the front office likes me. I am a well-kept guy, and I don't expect my job to go anywhere soon. But obviously, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, led by Frank Vogel, didn't produce the best season for the Phoenix Suns. They obviously combined to make $150 next season, and obviously building a quality supporting cast around this expensive trio is not an easy task, being in the second apron, having all these new CBA rules. But these are questions obviously for general manager James Jones, who we broke down a video talking about him, talking about the Suns' depth in our last video. So if you guys missed that, you guys can check that out. But the question remains with the latter: is the right man to lead around Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal for this season? Is it Frank Vogel? And that kind of gets into the next question is this the right move for the Phoenix Suns? Do you guys think that keeping Frank Vogel will be the smart decision, especially after we saw, obviously, the Los Angeles Lakers fire their head coach in Darvin Ham? Do you guys think the Suns should go in that direction, or do you guys think the Suns should keep Frank Vogel? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I'm going to say that they should keep Frank Vogel. I think that they should try to keep him. I don't believe that it was his fault. He obviously led the Lakers to a championship. I know it's in the bubble. A lot of people are going to say that it wasn't, a real championship, but he still led them to a championship. He's a great defensive mind, and if he can make those adjustments that we saw late in this Game 3, even into Game 4, earlier on into the series, or had some other pieces to make those adjustments with, I truly think that this Suns team would not be in this situation right now, and they would be in a much better situation. But if we want to look at the Suns here, we can kind of do some analyzation. This is per teams, looking at the defensive side of the metrics. We got the offensive side as well, but as you guys can see, Suns are around, halfway on a defensive ranking, which isn't too bad across the NBA, but they did struggle in offensive rebounding and turnovers, which, again, we made an abundance here on Suns Digest. The turnovers were the key in Games 3 and Game 4, even in Game 2, which led this Phoenix Suns to their demise. Definitely getting that point guard, getting that facilitator, someone who can handle and control the ball is a must-need for this roster in the offseason. If we want to look at the offensive side as well, we can see that the Suns ranked a little bit better on the offensive side, but again, struggling from the turnovers, even struggling from 3-points attempted and from field goals attempted, which goes to show you that this team, offensively compared to a bunch of others, did not get up as many shots as they would have liked, especially with this three-headed monster trio with Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, which ultimately goes back to Kevin Durant talking about how Frank Vogel used him as just a spot-up shooter, used him just in the corner, felt like he wasn't involved in this offense. And I truly think that having, these three stars and all this roster construction is not the fault of James Jones, and that's why this game plan didn't work for Frank Vogel. Now going into the offseason, having this full offseason with this team, knowing that he's going to have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant for the foreseeable future, he can, use to build off of that and bring in some key role players and role pieces, like we've mentioned, possibly a guy in TJ McConnell, possibly a guy in Andre Drummond. Those are some of the guys that me and CJ have broken down that we would like. So let us know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you guys believe that Frank Vogel is at fault here? And do you think that he should be fired, or do you agree with the Steinline and the report here saying that Frank Vogel should stay? Honestly, I'm going to rock with Frank Vogel. I think that he should stay and remain this head coach. Let's see how it handles. And then next season, if all goes to fail, if we still try to build around this roster and it does not work, we'll have to run into those issues in the future. But I do believe keeping Frank Vogel, giving him one last shot, is the best motion. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And again, if you guys enjoy the content, check out the videos linked at the top. Hit that subscribe button, as Suns Digest is here to make daily Suns content for you guys. And like I mentioned, there's going to be an abundance of news, drama, everything revolving around this team. So I'll have it for all of you guys here. From Bruce Veliz over on Suns Digest, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out and go Phoenix Suns.